Hello world and welcome back to another episode of Ars Nouveau, where today we're going to be covering all about source. We're going to cover all the different source links that are inside of this mod, as well as all the different ways that we can move it. First, let's cover all the source links that there are. There are 5 source links in total, 4 of them which I'm going to call tier 1, as they require not going to the nether, and the last one is going to require tier 2 as it requires going to the nether. The first one is the Agronomic Sourcelink, made with 2 pieces of gold or piece of wheat and source gems. We've already covered how to collect source gems and a little bit how the Agronomic Sourcelink works in episode 1, so go check that video out if you have not already. We will be, however, brushing over it again today. Next, we have the Mycelial Sourcelink. This is made pretty similarly, but with a mushroom stew instead, and this will eat any nearby foods that are nearby, and the better the food will actually nourish you, the more source it's actually going to generate. Any sorts of food that are using mana-based foods, such as source berries, we will get an increase in source creation. Following this, we have the Vitalic Sourcelink, made with a glistening melon. This will generate source from nearby mob deaths or by breeding of animals. As well as that, when the baby animals grow up, you'll also get some source. And then we have the Volcanic Sourcelink. This is made with a bucket of lava, and this will generate source from burnable items. So anything like coal or lava buckets will generate source. However, blazing wood is the best way of getting mana, as it is a mana burning wood. Lastly, we have the Alchemic Sourcelink. This is a tier 2, as it needs a brewing stand in order to craft, but this will generate source from consuming nearby potions. We're going to demonstrate how that works later. So here we have our first basic way of farming. Now, we are using starbunkles here, and we learned how to use starbunkles in episode 1, so again, go check that out. Starbunkles will automatically harvest source berries when they are ready to grow, which is why we have so many of them here, and they are putting them all in these chests at the back, or it looks like some of them are stuck. Now, we have our Agronomic Sourcelink just down here in the water, in the center here, and this generates or can take source from a 17 by 17 area. I have trimmed this back slightly for reasons showing soon. Now, this will actually put source into any source jar that is within a 5-block radius of it. So don't worry, you can have just one with plenty of source jars like we've got here. Obviously this is stationary, but later on we're going to cover how you move all these source jars. Next we have the Volcanic Sourcelink, and as I say, this is going to burn all these items. Now, you can have them burn off things like on a pedestal, as I have got here, but you do not have to do that. You can just have it drop automatically on the ground. We're using the starbunkles here again. They're going to be taking inventories of blazing archwood and putting it on these pedestals, and then the Volcanic Sourcelink is chewing it up and spitting it out. Again, you can put any nearby source jar within a 5-block radius and it will fill it up, as you see here. However, let's empty some of these just to demonstrate how it works. Now, the other cool thing about these Volcanic Sourcelinks is that they're going to turn all nearby stone into lava. As you can see here, we've got some lava. As you can see, even though I've got this in a 17 by 17 area, it doesn't actually go that far. It's only the immediate blocks next to it. So it's picking up off pedestals that are right next to it, of course, but slowly over time that these stone blocks are going to turn into lava. Now, the other cool thing about this as well is that over time, what this source link is going to do is generate lava lilies around our lava sources. Each different item you choose to burn on this Volcanic Sourcelink is going to generate heat. So the more heat it generates, the more likely that your stone is going to turn into lava, as well as that the more heat that comes from it is also going to be an indicator of how likely a lava lily is going to spawn. Just to demonstrate what they look just like this, and they are a walkable entity. So it's a good way of getting, if you harvest them, it's a good way of making a little pathway, say when you're through the nether, or to get through lava without actually destroying it. Next we have the Mycelial Sourcelink. Obviously this is going to generate anything from food, and thanks to our starbunkles over here, they're automatically generating food for us, and they're a mana type food, meaning they're going to give us extra amounts of mana generation when used on our Mycelial Sourcelinks. So it's a way of getting all your hordes of source berries from this starting, but then when you get up to this, you've obviously got this next step. Now, as you can see, similar to the Volcanic link, eventually your dirt underneath is going to turn into mycelia, as well as that, if there is space available, mushrooms will start spawning as well. So it's a good way to have an early game mushroom farm as well as a mycelia farm. Also, of course, it's going to generate you double the amounts of source if you use the Agronomic Sourcelink with the Mycelial Sourcelink. Very similarly as well to the Volcanic Sourcelink, you don't have to use these on pedestals. I'm just doing it this way so the starbunkles can automate everything for Ridanisaurus, but they can just be dropped on the floor. Next up, we have the Vitalic Sourcelink. As I said, this is going to work with all types of breeding. Now, this works again in a 17 by 17 area, and every time that you have your sheep get married and have a little child together, a bit of source is going to generate. Now, slowly as these children grow, eventually they're obviously going to pop into adults, and they will turn into get a little bit of source as well. As you can see here, as they're growing over time, source is actually coming from these babies. So once you have a large farm going, you're going to get a lot of source. Now, there are ways to automate the breeding process using spells and a familiar called a bookworm, but that we will not be covering today. As well as breeding, obviously the Sourcelink is going to take anything from mobs that die. Here we've got ourselves a dark room. Not going to lie, I have augmented it to give us this amount of drop rate, but as they die, the source is going to be taken from these guys as well. So it's a very good early way of getting source from them too. And how did you survive? Something I should mention, these iron spikes are obviously not from ours, they're from iron spikes in mob grinding utils, so you will have to manually kill them or drop them from a height where they'll die straight away. And lastly, we have the Alchemic Sourcelink. This is going to drink potions. Now, we have got here 3 potion jars, each filled with potions of slowness. Now, potion jars are pretty cool. They're simply made with a source jar and a abjuration essence, and you'll get ourselves a source jar. Now, what we're using here are Wixies. Wixies are our auto-crafting familiar, very similar to Starbungles that you transport. Wixies are going to auto-craft. Now, we're not going to be showing how you actually use the Wixies today. That is going to be in our familiars episode where we cover all the familiars inside of the mod, so stay subscribed and notified when these videos go live. But what we essentially have here is we have our Wixie at the back here making an awkward potion. They are taking water from this urn of endless water, which is made in enchanting apparatus with these items here. A water essence is this block right here, and a flower pot. This gives us our endless water. Then a chest full of nether warts. The Wixie is now taking those 2 blocks and putting it into this potion jar. The next one is taking potions out of this potion jar, taking the awkward potion, adding it with sugar to turn it into a potion of swiftness, and then we've got the next one using fermented spider eye to make it slowness, and then the next one using redstone to make it a longer time. The way the Alchemical Sourcelink works is the more complicated that the potion actually is, and the longer duration of its runtime, because obviously this is 1 minute 30 and this is 4 minutes, the 4-minute one is going to get more source out of it. So if we place this down, we can see that it's going to start filling up all of these very, very quickly. In fact, that one's already gone to full, but I'm pretty sure it had a backlog. Never mind, it's already filling up full source jars. Now, this isn't going to be using a lot of source over here. We are using a creative source jar, but enough is being generated from this Sourcelink to backfeed all of these crafts back here, because all Wixies do need a supply of source in order to actually do their auto crafting. There are ways to get even better potions than the vanilla base, but we aren't going to be covering those today. So how about we get into how we actually move our source around? We do this through relays. There are several different types of relays, starting with the basic one, the source relay. I forgot a block here. This is made with 6 pieces of gold and a source gem block in a regular crafting table, and this is going to be a way of sending source from either a jar to a jar, or a jar to a relay, then to other relays and other jars. The source jar splitter and all subsequent relays are all made in the enchanting apparatus. However, I don't think any of them require source, besides maybe the end one. This one here is the splitter. It's going to do the exact same thing as the regular relay. However, it has the ability to take from multiple places and also give to multiple places. Made with 4 pieces of quartz and 4 pieces of lapis with a source relay in the center. Following this, we have the Source Relay Collector. Works very similarly to the regular Source Relay, however, it will automatically take from nearby jars within a 5-block radius, so you don't need to set it essentially. This is just made with 4 chests around a Source Relay in an apparatus. The opposite from this is the Depositor. The Depositor is going to work the same way as a regular relay, but this time it's going to deposit into nearby jars that are in a 5-block radius instead of automatically taking it out like the Collector. This is made with 4 hoppers around a source jar in an enchanting apparatus. Lastly, the Source Relay Warper. This works the exact same way as the Splitter, as it can take multiple inputs and have multiple outputs. However, this has the ability to transport source from infinite blocks. Now, after you get beyond 30 blocks, there is a chance that you'll have a slight bit of loss, and also make sure that both sides of the source warper is actually chunk loaded, just to make sure that everything works correctly. This is made with 4 ender pearls and 4 popped chorus fruits inside an enchanting apparatus. and it does look like that this doesn't need any source to actually craft. So how about we actually demonstrate how each of these work now, starting off with the source relay. All we have to do is just simply place it down, and then we have to use something called a Dominion Wand. The Dominion Wand is made in the enchanting apparatus, just like so, and this is our way of configuring all of our relays. So in order to figure out where we want to take our source from, we first need to right click where we want our source to come from. So in this case, it's going to be a creative source jar. We right click on this, it says position set, and then we right click on the relay. It's now going to take it from there automatically. Now similarly, in order to put it into a different place, we now need to right click on the relay again to set its position, and then we have a little icon here showing in blue where our source is coming from. This is anything in blue, even with the star buckle, that is our take position. We then want to right click on where we want it to go, which in this case is our other jar, and this is going to put our source from one jar to the other. With you right click on it again, we can then see a red flame on top of the other source jar. Anything in red is going to be our input side. So let's just clear that now. So if we hold shift and right click in the air, that will clear what our Dominion Wand's currently doing. Now that's obviously from jar to jar. Here we're just going to quickly demonstrate how you go from jar to relay to jar. So again, it's the exact same thing. You click on one, then you click on the next. I like to go from the beginning of our chain to the end of the chain so nothing gets interrupted. Otherwise, going a bit backwards is a little bit tedious. So next, let's show off the splitter. The splitter is going to do the exact same thing. However, we have to just do everything one at a time. So if we do the taking first, we just right click and right click, right click and right click and right click and right click. Simply saving the positions and then putting them into our source splitter, just like our regular relay. We right click on this, we see all the flames. Then because we've highlighted this, we put it right clicks, we want to now send this to our other jars as well. As you can see here, if we right click on it another time, all of our different flames are now set. Let's clear that, and this has the highest throughput, as you can see here. So now, just to demonstrate that you don't have to have multiple inputs for multiple outputs, here we're going from source jar to relay, then we're going from relay to splitter, and then from splitter to our 3 jars. Something to note with all of these relays, if you actually screw up on one of your different configurations, what you can do is shift right click on any relay and it will clear all of its configurations. Next up, we have the collector, and as said, this is going to automatically collect source from any nearby jars in the 5-block radius. As you can see here, it took source from there without me even asking. All we do from there is simply configure it to our next jars, where we have a splitter over here, and then from the splitter we'll put it into our jars. Very similarly with the depositor, all we're going to do is go from source jar to relay, then to the depositor, and once it's linked, it will automatically start depositing source into nearby jars. And lastly, we have the warper. We'll right click this down first, and then we'll say where we want to take it from. Now we have a spot. Next, we want to right click on this. This has a saved position now, and we don't want to touch it again. What we're going to do is going to go all the way to the other side over here where I've got another source jar, and then we have a secondary warper, which we have here. We then want to imprint over there, and we can see we had a connection made, and then we can just right click over here and put it into there. Now, something to note is that it doesn't say a take location from this, because it's not actually going to be taking specifically from a source jar, but as you can see, it's automatically placing it inside. Now, the warper works the exact same way as a splitter, so I can send it like this. For now, guys, that is going to be everything when it comes to source inside of Ars Nouveau and how to generate it and move it. Next time, we're going to be covering everything familiar based. Now, there are multiple tiers of familiars, some which are going to be brand new to everyone in 1.19.2 and require us to go to the nether. But if this video did help you out in any way, shape or form, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It will really help me out, and ring the bell button to stay notified when these next episodes go live. But until next time, guys, take care.